Alright, today we're going to take a look at a Sansui a-5 that's said to have some flickering problems. Let's see if we can figure out what this thing's issue is. That kind of constitutes a flickering problem there. Kind of seems like a low voltage condition, so let's take this apart and see what we can find. Well, this is certainly an interesting unit inside. Totally didn't expect this one. But I'm taking a real good educated fly by the seat of my pants guess. Let's see. That's that's strange that those LEDs would even flicker at that low intensity with the fact that no, it's not even trying to work. Oh, now it is. 1 meg. A lot of resistance for a power switch. You wouldn't even think that would be enough to turn an LED on anywhere, but it is. This really doesn't surprise me that the power switch is bad. I've seen this issue before. I attribute it, and I could be wrong, I attribute it to the fact that there's really lost all my lights. I attribute it to the fact that there's no suppression across these switches. I've seen this before in the A40s. So I'm not real familiar with this unit, so we'll take that power switch out and see what we have to do. 9 chances out of 10 we're gonna have to take it apart, and that's a whole experience all on its own. This unit has a metal bottom on it. That's very impressive. Very impressive. So see if we can get this power switch out quick. I love units like this. These are just so cool to figure out sometimes, because it literally took 5 seconds to get the front face off of it, and it just makes everything very accessible. So we'll just wait for the iron to heat up here, get some water on the sponge, and take this whole switch out. It's got problems on these contacts. Chances are it's got problems on the speaker contacts too, even though it's apples and orange comparison. But the cool thing is that you can hit them all at the same time just by simply pulling the whole thing out of there. So that's what we'll do. Just had to stop for a minute and make sure I was looking at this right, not doing something stupid. Checking across these two contacts to make sure they were the switch, I started to second guess myself here, but you can see there's two contacts pulled down into the board here, and they should just be a transparent straight through. So undoubtedly that connection should be shorted, because right there you can see where C1 is supposed to be, and that would be the arc suppression cap across the contacts, and it's setting right across here. Kind of looks to me, I remember doing these switches before, but I don't remember if it was exactly this type of switch. TV5, that sounds awfully familiar. It had to have been, but anyway, the only way I see to get this apart, of course, is to grind off this epoxy here and clear the epoxy around that terminal. Grind this flush and get that off, and clean those edges up here and straighten those terminals, and then we should just be able to pop this top cover straight up these terminals once we have them pretty precise so it fits off of them. So before we do that, just real quick, we'll put the meter on it again. It's trying to work. It's trying harder than it was in the beginning. You know, I might be able to shoot some cleaner into this, maybe, and make it work, but I don't like doing that. I like taking the contacts out of them. That's much more challenging than just shooting some cleaner into it and crossing your fingers. So, right there's the culprit. So, what I did here was I just took the cutters and cut around that, and then cleaned the edges, put the edge of the cutter on the side and just pull it down along the bottom edge, and cracked all that off of there. And then if you just kind of wiggle this, make sure this terminal is perfect, because you're going to have to pull that up over it. That's all I did just to get this red stuff off, so we'll do the rest of it. And it's kind of the same thing here. Just put your cutters on the edge of the switch and just pull it back towards you, and so you get all this stuff cut off of there and that edge cleaned up. And once you get the front too, just stick your fingernail up here under this edge and push it down in to see if you can free this edge up, and then just work your finger around it, and we'll see if this works. Feels like one of these terminals down here might be binding at the bottom. Okay, I've been futzing with this for about 5 or 10 minutes. These things are very fragile, so you just don't want to tear into them too quickly, especially some of the other power switches, or you can have springs and stuff shooting out of them, and your whole project will just come to a very abrupt end. It seems to be hanging in this corner here, so I'm just going to work it a little bit longer. Okay, I'll show you what's happening here. This is why I said make sure these little terminals are completely clean. Solder wick them and check them out under a magnifier, because you can see what's happening is it's binding on this one terminal, and it was very clean, so it's wanting to pull the terminal out of the very bottom with it, and we don't want that to happen. So I just took the file and I filed the sides of this, and if you feel your file, you can tell when you're on you can tell by the feel of the file whether or not you're removing surface material from the terminal here. So it takes some interpretation. And then just grab this pin by the bottom here and hold it with the pliers so it doesn't want to pull up through. And that was the magic thing. So there we are in real time. Honestly, it probably took me 25-30 minutes just to finesse this little cover off of there. But there's really nothing to them. It's just a spindly little piece of fiberglass. So it's a pretty delicate ordeal. Now, looking inside it, you can see the big old pit there on the bottom contact, and I fully expected that, so that's why it's not working. But that arm right there looks like there's just a little bit of a tweak in it. If I square the front face up with my with my viewing range here and then look straight into it, it looks like this edge of this arm is slightly twisted up in the air compared to the very back of the contact. So I don't know what we're going to do there. It's always best to sit there and think about it for 15 minutes before you try to do something, because like I said, messing with these things can sometimes be flirting with a little bit of disaster. So I think what I'm going to do is the easiest route first, and I think we'll just take the pliers on here and pry this terminal up and pop this contact out of there, because that's a safe bet to do. But what we don't want to do is try to pull this mess out of here too quickly. So we'll do the one that we know is going to give us the least amount of fight first. Okay, sometimes you got to interpret things very slowly as you go along to try to find the best plan of attack.